You're savoring what you consider the most luxurious coffee on earth, smooth, rare, almost mystical. It costs $80 a cup. Some say it's life-changing. But what if I told you this so-called premium blend comes from animal poop? Not just any animal civet cats, force-fed coffee cherries in cramped cages. And here's the kicker. Last week, a video exposing this blew up with over 15 million views. Another followed with 9 million. This isn't just about coffee. It's about ethics, deception, and how much we're willing to pay for a myth. Today, we're diving deep into kopi luwak, the world's most controversial brew. What is it really? Why do people pay hundreds for it? And should you ever buy it again? If you're already hooked, and honestly, who wouldn't be, smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe, because trust me, this channel is about to drop more strange but true secrets, stories, and facts than your history teacher ever dared to share. Let's start at the beginning. Kopi luwak, also known as civet coffee, originates from Indonesia. The name literally means civet cat coffee in Bahasa Indonesia. It first gained notoriety during Dutch colonial times, when plantation workers, forbidden from harvesting the best beans, noticed civet cats eating ripe coffee cherries and defecating the undigested beans. Curious, they collected, cleaned, roasted, and brewed the drink. The result? A smoother, less bitter cup. Word spread. By the 2000s, kopi luwak was being sold in luxury hotels in Tokyo, Dubai, and New York. Forbes called it the Starbucks of luxury coffee. National Geographic ran a story in 2013. Anthony Bourdain famously refused to drink it on camera, calling it disgusting and wrong. Nonetheless, demand exploded. By 2018, the global kopi luwak market was valued at $250 million. Prices range from $35 to $100 per pound, sometimes more. A single cup at a 5-star hotel can cost $80. But here's the thing. Most of it is fake. Experts estimate that up to 90% of kopi luwak sold worldwide is counterfeit. That means regular coffee, just rebranded. And the 10% that's real, much of it comes from cruel, industrialized farms where civet cats are caged, force-fed, and live in misery. We're not talking about wild civets roaming freely on plantations. We're talking battery-style cages, no sunlight, no room to move. This isn't tradition, it's exploitation masquerading as luxury. So how did we get here? Let's rewind. In the early 2000s, demand for kopi luwak went through the roof. Wild civet cats naturally eat coffee cherries in parts of Indonesia, the Philippines, and Vietnam. But wild production is tiny, maybe a few hundred pounds per year, not enough to meet global demand. So, entrepreneurs saw an opportunity. They started capturing wild civets and putting them in cages. Fast forward to 2023, and undercover investigations by organizations like PETA and Animals Asia revealed horrific conditions. Civets are solitary, nocturnal animals. In the wild, they roam up to 4 miles a night. On farms, they're stuffed into wire cages the size of shoeboxes. Many develop stress-induced ulcers, lose their fur, and stop moving altogether. They're force-fed coffee cherries, sometimes up to 200 a day, because they wouldn't naturally eat that much. Their diet lacks variety, leading to malnutrition. A study published in the Journal of Applied Animal Welfare Science found that caged civets displayed signs of severe psychological distress, repetitive pacing, self-mutilation, and even seizures. And here's the irony. The stress changes the chemical makeup of the beans. The enzymes in the civet's digestive tract are supposed to break down the proteins that cause bitterness, but stressed animals produce different enzymes. So, the very thing that's supposed to make the coffee smooth, it's compromised. In 2016, a BBC blind taste test compared wild-sourced, caged, and regular coffee. Guess what? Most tasters couldn't tell the difference. Some even preferred the regular coffee. Yet, people still pay insane prices. Why? Marketing. Mystique. The idea that something rare and exotic must be better. But rarity does not equal quality. It just means someone can charge more. And let's be frank, most buyers don't care how it's made. They care about the story. I drank cat poop coffee. It's a flex. A conversation starter. But behind that flex, suffering. In 2022, the Indonesian Ministry of Agriculture admitted it has little control over civet farms. Regulations exist, but enforcement is weak. Meanwhile, Vietnam and the Philippines have seen a surge in illegal operations. Tourists are even given kopi luwak experiences, where they watch civets defecate on command. That's not education. That's exploitation with an espresso chaser. All right, let's get into the weeds for a second. What actually happens when a civet eats a coffee cherry? The fruit is digested, but the bean passes through intact. During digestion, proteolytic enzymes in the stomach break down proteins in the bean. Since proteins contribute to bitterness, their reduction should create a smoother, more complex flavor. Sounds scientific, right? But here's the catch. The process isn't magic. It's biochemistry, and it can be replicated. In 2018, a team at the University of California, Davis, simulated the civet digestive process using enzymes and fermentation. The result? A coffee that tasted almost identical to real kopi luwak, but with zero animal involvement. They called it synthetic luwak, and it cost a fraction to produce. Other companies have followed suit. Black Ivory Coffee in Thailand uses elephants instead, yes. Elephant poop coffee, but with better welfare standards. Meanwhile, startups in the US and Europe are using fermentation tanks to mimic the civet gut. No cages, no cruelty. The same smooth profile. In fact, in blind tastings, these lab-made versions often outperform real kopi luwak. So, why isn't everyone switching? Because people don't buy coffee, they buy stories. The myth of the wild civet, the exotic origin, the taboo of poop-processed beans. That's what sells. It's not the taste. It's not the ethics. It's not the science. And let's talk numbers. A single civet produces about 150 grams of beans per month. That's less than half a pound. To make a kilo, you need beans from 7 to 10 civets. At $100 a pound, that's $200 per kilo sold. But the cost of keeping a civet in a cage? Less than $20 a month. Profit margins? Huge. And because most buyers can't tell the difference, the fraud thrives. Fake kopi luwak is often just regular beans with a fancy label. Some sellers even roast them with civet feces to authenticate the flavor. Yes, really. But here's something most people don't know. The rise of kopi luwak isn't just an Indonesian issue, it's a global supply chain nightmare. Middlemen, exporters, and online retailers play a role in washing fake or cruelly sourced beans into the mainstream. In Europe, some specialty coffee shops unknowingly serve kopi luwak that was mass-produced in cages and shipped in bulk under false certifications. In the US, Amazon listings claim 100% wild-sourced with zero proof. Even customs agencies struggle to detect fraud. There's no reliable way to distinguish caged from wild beans without DNA testing. And even then, contamination is common. A 2020 study from Oxford University found that out of 48 kopi luwak samples bought online, only 3 were genuinely wild. The rest? Blends, fakes, or farmed. And yet, the label stays on the jar, the price stays high, the myth stays alive. So who is actually buying kopi luwak? Research shows it's primarily affluent consumers in the US, Japan, South Korea, and the Middle East. In Dubai, it's served on private jets. In Tokyo, it's a wedding gift. In New York, it's a status symbol at elite brunches. But here's the twist. Most buyers have no idea how it's made. A 2021 survey by the International Coffee Organization found that 68% of kopi luwak consumers believed the pasar beans were collected in the wild. Only 12% knew about the cage farming. That's misinformation at scale, and the industry knows it. Marketing materials avoid any mention of animal treatment. Instead, they focus on buzzwords like rare, exotic, hand-picked, and once-in-a-lifetime experience. Some brands even claim it has health benefits, lower acidity, more antioxidants. Zero scientific proof, but it sounds good. Meanwhile, large hotel chains and airlines have quietly removed kopi luwak from menus after PETA campaigns. Starbucks, Hilton, and British Airways have banned it. Yet smaller boutique cafes still serve it, often with an enormous markup. And online, It's everywhere. Amazon, Etsy, eBay, thousands of listings, many with false certifications. The term wild-sourced is unregulated. Anyone can use it. Even Indonesian authorities admit they can't track authenticity. So, what's the fix? Education, transparency, and alternatives. Because the truth is, you don't need civet cat poop to make great coffee. Ethiopia, Colombia, and Kenya produce some of the smoothest, most complex beans on Earth without exploiting animals, and they cost a lot less. Now let's tackle the big question. Can kopi luwak be ethical? Some argue yes, if it's truly wild-sourced. That means collecting beans from civet droppings found in the forests, not on farms. In small villages in Sumatra and Java, this still happens. Farmers walk the plantations at dawn, collecting the droppings, cleaning the beans, and selling them locally. No cages, no force feeding. It's labor-intensive and low yield, but it's real, and it supports local communities. The problem? It's nearly impossible to scale, and even harder to verify. Without GPS tracking, DNA testing, and third-party audits, how do you know it's not fake? There are a few certifications like the Kopi Luwak Certificate of Authenticity from the Indonesian Coffee and Cocoa Research Institute, but they're rarely enforced. Plus, even wild collection raises ethical questions. Is it right to profit from animal waste? Should we romanticize poop-based products? Some conservationists argue that promoting kopi luwak, even wild, increases the demand that fuels illegal farming. It's the same logic behind ivory or shark fin soup. Any demand creates a black market. So, maybe the answer isn't better farming. Maybe it's no farming. After all, we've moved past other cruel luxuries like foie gras or furs. Why not this one? In 2023, a petition by Humane Society, International calling for a global ban on civet coffee farming, garnered over 500,000 signatures. The EU is considering restrictions, but change is slow, because as long as people are willing to pay $80 for a cup, someone will find a way to supply it. Enter the disruptors. Companies like Synthetic Coffee Co. and BioBrew Labs are creating kopi luwak-style coffee without the animals. Using enzyme baths and controlled fermentation, they replicate the digestion process in a lab. The result? A smooth, low-bitterness coffee that tastes just like the real thing minus the guilt. And it's cheaper. A pound costs $20, not $100. Some brands are even marketing it as ethical luwak or clean kopi. Early adopters, specialty coffee shops in Berlin, Portland, and Melbourne. Customer response? Surprisingly positive. I don't care how it's made, one customer said. If it tastes good and no animal suffered, I'm in. Meanwhile, blockchain startups are working on traceability apps. Scan a QR code, see the bean's journey from forest to cup. No cages, no lies. Is it perfect? Not yet, but it's a step forward. And let's be honest, if the flavor is the same and the price is lower, why wouldn't you switch? The future of luxury coffee isn't in cages. It's in science, transparency, and respect. But the story doesn't end with coffee. Kopi luwak is a symptom of a bigger problem: our obsession with novelty, exclusivity, and the illusion of authenticity. We live in an era where influencers sell artisanal experiences that are mass-produced, where luxury is manufactured, not earned. And kopi luwak is the perfect storm, rare, shocking, Instagram-worthy. It's not just a drink, it's content. And the more we share it, the more we feed the cycle. Think about it. Every viral post of someone sipping kopi luwak in Bali? That's free advertising for an industry built on suffering. Every OMG that came from poop, reaction, that's demand, that's profit, that's cages. We aren't just consumers, we're accomplices. So, what can you do? First, ask questions. If a coffee shop serves kopi luwak, ask, is it wild-sourced? Can you prove it? Do you have a certification? If they hesitate, walk away. Second, look for red flags. If it's cheap, it's fake. If it's served at a chain hotel, it's probably fake. If the staff can't explain the origin, it's fake. Third, support ethical brands. Look for companies using lab-made alternatives or transparent wild collection. Fourth, spread the word. Share this video. Talk to friends. Demand better. Because every dollar you spend is a vote. Vote for coffee that doesn't come from suffering. Vote for truth over myth. And finally, try something new. The world is full of amazing coffees: Jamaican Blue Mountain, Panama Geisha, Ethiopian Yirgacheffe. You don't need poop for a premium experience. Ultimately, kopi luwak isn't really about coffee. It's about us. Our obsession with rarity, our willingness to overlook suffering for a status symbol, our love for stories over facts. We live in a world where people pay more for a product because it's weird, not because it's better. And that's dangerous. Because if we accept it for coffee, what's next? Elephant dung tea? Bear bile wine? There's a line. And kopi luwak is on the wrong side of it. But it's also a wake-up call. A chance to rethink what we value. Maybe the most luxurious thing isn't rarity. Maybe it's integrity. Maybe the best coffee isn't the one that costs $80. Maybe it's the one that lets the civets roam free. So, should you drink kopi luwak? If it's truly wild-sourced, ethically collected, and verified? Maybe, but good luck finding it. 90% of the market is either fake or cruelly produced, and even the good stuff is built on a shaky premise. Is poop coffee really worth it? The science says no. The ethics say no. The taste tests say no. So, unless you're on a remote Indonesian island, watching a wild civet wander through the forest, dropping beans as nature intended pass, your taste buds won't miss it. And the civets? They'll thank you. And if you think this is just about coffee, think again. This is about every product we consume without asking questions. The palm oil in your shampoo, the chocolate in your snack, the leather in your shoes. The choices we make ripple across the entire planet. So, next time you're about to buy something because it's rare, exotic, or extreme, pause. Ask, what's the real cost? Who's paying the price? And is it really worth it? If this video helped you understand what's going on behind the scenes of luxury coffee, hit that like button. More videos like this are coming, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Thanks for watching.